Good afternoon and welcome to Monza for the first race of the Copa Shell category of the Ferrari Challenge, about to get underway here. And a nice bit of camera art there through the reflection in the windows of one of the main grandstands. Here's the calendar in full for you for 2015. We're in Monza now. We've got Mugello, Hungaroring, Paul Ricard, Imola and Valencia to come, with the World Finals as well right at the end of the season. All the details at corsaclienti.com. That's the website for you to check out all the information with regard to the Ferrari Challenge. And it is the Copa Shell cars that we're about to see out on track here in Monza, where we are approximately 45-50 minutes from central Milan here at this 5.7 kilometre circuit full of history and full of heritage that is the Autodrome National Monza. Traditional start to the Ferrari Challenge, and this season 2015 gets underway this weekend here. Well, earlier today the weather was utterly beautiful. The sun shone, but now it's not looking quite so bright. There was rumours when we left our hotel this morning that there was the possibility of maybe a shower late this afternoon. Just hope we can get this Copa Shell race away before any shower should fall. We will see. At the moment, we've just had a Italian Formula 2 race on track, which is why the cars have not quite been released, or now being released from the pit lane out onto the circuit, ready to form the grid for this, the first of the Copa Shell races for today. We've seen a 4-degree temperature drop from the 23 degrees we had earlier, or was it 20 degrees? Perhaps I was being a bit ambitious. I think it was 20 degrees. So we've seen a 1 degree drop in temperature as we go on board with Eric Prinot. And it's pleasing that we went on board with him just for a moment, because he'll be starting from pole position. This is von Skeltermar, who we look backwards from. And Christian Kinch, the Swedish driver, Lueg Sportivo, who we're on board with right now. And they're the full gamut of the 458s making their way out of the pit lane here. Manuela Gostner, whose sister Corinna is also in this race. And there we see the Christian Kinch car that we were on board with just a few moments ago. Christian will be starting from P8 on the grid. So, we're in Monza. What's it like? Let's show you. So, some beauty shots then of Monza as we go back on board the Lueg Sportivo driver Christian Kinch, as he takes us through this Monza circuit down the back straight now, having just done the Ascari chicane. We're with him just for a moment. So we're about to go on board and give you a bird's eye view, if you like, of the Monza circuit, as Tommy Lindroth just saw there momentarily. So, Monza circuit, what's it like? Let's see it from a driver's eye perspective.
Hello, my name is Björn Grossmann. I'm coming from Germany, and I'm driving the Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli for my team Octane 126. Welcome to Monza, the first race of the year. I'm happy to start here the challenge in this historic motorsport racetrack, and I love the food, I love the people, and I'm happy to stay here. Monza is a really high-speed track and really technical. I love to drive here because it's a lot of high speed on the straight and you don't have to miss the brake point. If you miss it, you will lose a lot of time, and I hope I will do it in the race. I am so happy to drive here with the 458 with the Evo kit. It's a big difference between the normal challenge because you have a really good braking and a really high corner speed. So in Monza it's really important because on the long straight you have a really short braking and a good turn in the fast corners. And now enjoy this fantastic weekend with this fantastic race series on this track and have a lot of fun with the amazing 458. I wish you good luck and a lot of fun for the race.
Thank you very much to Bjorn Grossman then, who's one of our Trofeo Pirelli drivers who gave us an insight into the circuit here at Monza. And as you could see from the weather conditions that he endured when that was filmed during free practice, it was very wet. Certainly not been wet here. It's during the course of race day. It's been nice and dry. Eric Prenot from pole. Alongside him, Jacques Diver. Expect great things from the Kessel driver, Jacques Diver. Tommy Lindroth. He's been on a charge today. He starts from P3. Gautam Singhania, Kessel Racing's driver, starts from P4. P5 is Thomas Loflad, the Stylef Squadra Corsa driver, and it's Thomas Gostner on P6. Eric Chung is P7. With Christian Kinch then going from P8 for his Loeg Sportivo charge in this, the first race of the Copa Shell category of the Ferrari Challenge. We've done the first 4 rows of the grid. As we look to the next rows, Rick Lovett, the Canadian racer, going from P9, Fons Skeltermar, P10. Holger Harmsen looked very quick in free practice and also parts of quali, but he goes from a lowly P11. Then it's Gerk alongside. Paul van Loonhout, welcome to Paul, P13. Dieter Schenk, P14. Then it's Manuela Gostner and Corinna Gostner, the two sisters together, P15 and 16. Klaus Rubeck and Simon Cunningham, P17 and 18, with Chua Drolo, P19, and Carver alongside him with Christian Hobone bringing up the rear for Ota in P21. So the cars making their way onto the grid right now, and you can see it's a packed grid down there, but that means the race is not far from starting. So where will the honours go for the first of the Copa Shell races? Well, so you can see where there is the Jacques Diver car. Jacques being advised there. Great guy. Had a long chat with him earlier this morning. Done a lot of racing over the winter as well. Took part in the Dubai 24 Hours and plans a number of other outings during the course of this year. Did you see Eric Prenot there? Making his way to his P2 position on the grid in car number 181. That's Corinna Gostner in car number 161. And they're in car number 180. Gautam Singhania, the Kessel Racing driver. Saw Gautam at the final round in the Finale Mondiale towards the end of last year in Abu Dhabi. So there is Eric Prenot then, another long-serving member of the Ferrari Challenge grid. Thumbs up from Eric. Had a conversation with him just before lunch today, and it was very positive, certainly, in his wearing our helmet camera, as you can see, as he goes through final checks inside the car. There, car number 161. Is Thomas Gostner, the Ineco MP Racing driver. The Gostner family, of course. There's Thomas, there's David, there's Corinna, and there's Manuela as well. And there is Tommy Lindroth taking on board some liquid just ahead of the start of this race. And you'll see a new logo on the bonnet of his car. It's called the Beer Hunter. Christian Kinch then, the Bactiguard logoed machine. And we saw Christian and Tommy at the end of the Trofeo Pirelli race actually applauding those that were up on the podium. Be interesting to see whether Christian can make his way to the podium today. That would be good to see. But this man will try and do everything he can to prevent that, because he's starting from pole position. Eric Prinot, Jacques Diver alongside him. Eric Prinot, of course, a gentleman driver. There are 10 gentleman drivers across the grid. Those are drivers of gentleman age, let me put it like that, in a politically correct way, I hope, including this man, Fons Skeltermar. Came so close to taking the championship. You could just see the hair at the bottom of your screen there is that of Nicky Kadai, who's been a long time driver coach to Fons Skeltermar, and Fons will be going all out for the championship this year, having come so close last year with the chase with Max Bianchi. Just see the all-yellow machine there of Holger Harmsen in car number treble 1, and car number 113 is Paul van Lowenhout, and this man, car number 178, is Peter Gurk. And I said earlier during qualifying, that car very much looks like the Max Bianchi car of last year, and that would have been the title winning car, so we'll hope for good things from that car. Eric Chung, who will be competing for AF Corsa in the Ferrari Challenge Europe, and is also going to be doing selected rounds in the Asia Pacific Series as well, he was telling me earlier today. And another one of the lovely, lovely guys in this championship. Dieter Schenk will go from P14, another gentleman driver. Again, just receiving final instructions from his Kessel team. And Kessel racing very, very well represented on the grid as final preparations for Christian Kinch. Then down there, the Lueg Sportivo driver. Good program in Sweden all about Christian Kinch and his racing activities over the winter period. And there is car number 173 of Corinna Gosner. And that's David Gosner offering advice there. David, of course, who earlier was in the Trofeo Pirelli race, and he unfortunately didn't have the luck that perhaps he deserved. The car not going exactly perfectly right, so David offering words of advice to Corinna there. So the scene is set, the grid is formed, and that's the 112 car of Rick Lovett, the Canadian driver, as once again we go to the helmet camera of Eric Prinot right at the front row of the grid. As always, the turn 1 and 2, the Variante del Rettifio, is going to be the pinch point right at the start of this race, and we look back at the assembled grid from the Hublot safety car here. May I remind you, CorsaClienti.com is the website for you to check out all the information about the Ferrari Challenge, and of course there's lots of social media for you to be part of as well. And well, Corinna there listening hard to what David has got to say, and another great bit of camera art then, looking at the reflection from the main grandstand here as the crews return the trolleys back to the garages. And we are just moments away from the race getting underway here at Monza, race 1 in the Copa Shell category of the Ferrari Challenge. These Evo cars, the 458 Evo iteration, with the splitter at the front and the big rear wing, which are the most noticeable differences from the standard 458 Challenge car and this, the second season of the Evo car. Here come those social media up there on screen for you to be part of, and we would love that very much, including Facebook, and of course a reminder to you that the website at CorsaClienti.com. There it is. Everyone makes their way off the grid then, and we're about to get the formation lap underway. It will be the safety car that goes off first, then it will be followed by the front row of Eric Prinot and Jacques Diver before the rest of the cars join in too on a formation lap, and then rolling start for these 458 cars as the safety car rolls away. Then the formation lap gets underway. 35-minute race, extended races over the 2015 season for the Ferrari Challenge, which sees us off to Mugello next at the beginning of May. Then it's Budapest at the end of June, Paul Ricard in July, Imola in September, Valencia in Spain at the beginning of October, and then the venue for the glittering finale mondiale yet to be confirmed. Various rumours doing the paddock of the location of that, and sadly they are only rumours. The moment I get any real hint of where we're going, I'll be the first to tell you. But at the moment, nothing that can really be reported. Finale Mondiale is always such a fantastic event to look forward to. Last year, for the first time, was held at the Yas Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi. Of course, the very grounds almost of the phenomenal Ferrari world, where my colleague Nico was brave enough to take on the Formula Rosso roller coaster, which I hasten to add I was not. Never going to come close to it. So, on their way then on this formation lap. The Copa drivers, and we go on board to get a great driver's eye view here as these cars warming up on the formation lap, ready for the off for the first of the Copa races of the 2015 season. So the grid then is Prinot, Diver, then it's Lindroth, Singhania, Loflad, Gosner, Chung, King, then it's Lovett and Skeltermaren, Harmson and Girk, Van Lauwen, Schenk. The two Gosners, Manuela and Corinna, before Rubeck, Cunningham. And then it's Chuadrogo, Carver and Christian Hobohm, making up the full 21 cars that are out on track for this race. So looking back from the Hublot safety car. Some fantastic liveries across the cars for this year. Head up towards the Parabolica, Curva Parabolica, which is the final turn. Turn 11 here on this 5.7 kilometre Monza circuit. And the safety car will peel off into the pit lane, and it will be down to the front row of Jacques Diver and Eric Prinot to pace the rest of the pack, and then we will be away and racing. Expect to see a brilliant start from Tommy Lindroth from P3 on the grid, and also Gautam Singhania from P4 as well. And Fons Skeltermar will fancy his chances. They're into the Parabolica now. The safety car will peel off. As you can see, it's built up a bit of distance between that and the pack as they the front row backs them up now, and we're about ready to go racing for this, the first of the Copa Shell races of 2015. We throw the lights up to the left-hand side of the screen for you, and Prinot and Diver back them up. They're all getting excited and full of anticipation. Are the lights going to go green? Indeed they do. Who's going to get a flyer? Fons Skeltermar dives to the outside and tries from his position back there on row 4 of the grid. It's neck and neck between Diver and Prinot towards the chicane, though, which is the real bottleneck. Tommy Lindroth moving from side to side. He's lost a gaggle of places, it looks like. Prinot goes through, Diver stays. Lindroth takes an unorthodox route through the chicane. So too did Fons Skeltermar. Well, thankfully they all got through relatively unscathed, and the race is on. 35 minutes of hot rocket Ferrari Challenge Copa Shell racing to come, being led by Eric Prinot, that man in car number 181. P2 is Jacques Diver. Tommy Lindroth looked down to P5. He started P3, so he lost a couple of places in the end. Be disappointed with that. Fons Skeltermar up to P7. So there's the opening lap then of the Copa Shell race. The all-yellow machine of Holger Harmsen going through. They sound absolutely fantastic as they pass our camera point there as Tommy Lindroth comes under pressure from Eric Chung in car number 198. There's Eric Chung, and Fons Skeltermar is in that mix as well. So Thomas Gostner ahead of Fons Skeltermaier at the moment. Eric Prenot doing the job really, really well, though, building up a bit of a gap over Jacques Diver already at the start of this race. It's Prenot, Diver, then it's Thomas Loflad, P3, and Gautam Singhania is P4. There's Christian Kinch then with Fons Skeltermaier right behind him. And there was Thomas Gostner just to the side there, we could see going through. So one completed lap done and dusted. It's Prenot from Diver, from Loflad, from Singhania. The 1, 2, 3, 4. And Eric Prenot's car squirms under braking through the turn 1 and turn 2, and being advised by race control that the start is under investigation. Start is under investigation. So on board we go and see it from an onboard view. That was Fons Skeltermaier on the left-hand side. And Fons has gone round. So doubtless we'll get a replay of the contact there, but Fons Skeltermaier, that has put him way, way back down the order. I would have said one of the favourites for the championship going into this round, and that's how it happened. So 178 just absolutely clattered into him. Rick Lovett did very well to avoid. So Peter Gurk, and there you can see it from on board Fons's car. And also having gone round is Rick Lovett, who's in a really awful position there with all the cars coming in front of him. So Rick Lovett, the Canadian driver, who really came good towards the end of the season. Well, it's the damage. You can see the coolant being chucked out down by the car, and well, he really was quite unable to control that, truthfully. So Rick Lovett was, to the best of what I saw, a bit of an innocent bystander in all of that, really, and paid the price. So Eric Prenot leads from Jacques Diver and Thomas Loflad. Then it is Gautam Singhania. Then Tommy Lindroth is in P5. There's Gautam Singhania then in car number 180. And we go back on board here. And there was the Thomas Gostner car number 161. And Eric Chung on the right-hand side of your picture there in car number 198, taking a huge heap of curb there as these super slow-mo replays show you some of the action from the Coperchel Ferrari Challenge race that is going on right now. And there you can see how Fons Skeltermaier got turned around there. So oil on track at turn 1, we're being told by race control. Well, as if turn 1 wasn't lively enough. We really need that, don't we? So we could see that fluid being dumped down there through damage on the car, and their confirmation on the screen, oil on the track at turn 1. Prenot from Diver, Loflad and Singhania. There is Singhania in the orange-fronted car. Here comes Tommy Lindroth, who is P5. Then it's Eric Chung, P6. Tommy Gostner, P7. And Christian Kinch is P8. So that is Lindroth that we were seeing there. But this is the race leader, Eric Prenot, then, who had, interestingly, one of his fastest lap times, as we say that, his fastest lap appears, one of his fastest lap times during qualifying earlier today, taken away for not all 4 exceeding track limits. And the race stewards have been really, really hard on track limits here over the course of the weekend. And here's the replay of the start. And, well, I suspect that is under investigation for some letting go before the lights are out. So we will see. Eric Prenot and Jacques Diver. It was a real drag race into turn 1. And it was a race that, at that point, Eric Prenot won because he leads now with a margin of 1.199 seconds over Jacques Diver in second place. Then it is Thomas Loflad in P3, Singhania P4, and then this man, sorry, not this man, Tommy Lindroth is P5. Before we see Eric Chung P6 and then Tommy Gostner P7, Thomas Gostner P7. Eric Prenot then, the front end of the car once again squirms under braking. Well, whether oil is down there or not, he managed to scrub the speed off without too much drama. And the gap now 1.447 seconds between Eric Prenot and Jacques Diver. There's Jacques Diver in P2, the 192 machine. P3, Thomas Loflad. So a full second behind Jacques Diver. And then a further second back before we get to Gautam Singhania. Doesn't look like that on track, but that's what the timing screen is telling us. And car number 178 receives a drive-through penalty. That will be for the contact on von Skelterma that we saw. So car number 178 receives a drive-through penalty. Academic, really, because I think 178 has been retired anyway. So our race leader, Eric Prinot, then continues to extend his lead out front. And he's now 1.864 seconds ahead of Jacques Diver in P2. P3 is Thomas Loflad, and gap between Loflad and Singhania there is coming down, as you can see. Gautam Singhania in that super orange and white and green liveried car, who is currently P4, getting ever closer to the 151 machine of Thomas Loflad. In fact, in our leading pack, that is the closest battle, as they head once again up to the turns 1 and 2, the Variante de Retifio chicane. So both Loflad and Singhania hard on the brakes, and that man, just being advised, Thomas Loflad is getting a drive-through penalty for a jump start. So now Gautam Singhania can afford to ease off, because he knows that within 3 laps, car number 151, which is currently P3, has got to go in and serve a drive-through penalty. So Gautam Singhania, there's absolutely no point in him absolutely blitzing his tyres as around goes car number 196. Simon Cunningham-Potts, a welcome addition to the Ferrari Challenge for 2015. He has gone round, looks a little battle-scarred on the front of that car as well. And von Skelterma showing some scarring as well. So there is the Cunningham car having gone round. So our current P3 driver has got to serve a drive-through penalty. So providing Gautam is not going to be mugged by Tommy Lindroth, he can afford to not chase Loflad too hard, because Loflad is going to be going in any event, and therefore P3 will be inherited by Gautam Singhania. Eric Prinot comfortable out front with a 1.8 second margin. We go on board with him now as he wears our helmet camera. Hugs the curb, gives it everything he can, changes gears using the sequential paddle shift, and off the back of the parabolica down the start-finish straight now. Let's hope we stay with him just for a moment and just see just how hard he brakes. Passes our commentary position on the left-hand side, and now, where Rick Lovett was telling me there's slight adhesion changes as you break into that chicane where the tarmac has been replaced at times. Now, around the Curva Grande, various people take different lines here, and Eric Prinot, the car just naturally levitates towards the outside, and Prinot got it perfectly under control and driving like a demon at the moment, hence his 1.9 second margin over Jacques Diver. That man, although he now sets the fastest lap, a 1:54.494. Still out there is Thomas Loflad, who's got to serve a drive-through penalty for for jumping the start. No alleging about it. Penalty is being issued for that. So 1.9 the margin between Prinot and Diver, but Diver has just set the fastest lap. Prinot goes through, so too does Diver. And there the Ineco MP driver Eric Prinot then, who is leading this race. Just under 24 minutes left to run. And all the drivers appear to have settled down nicely into the rhythm of the race, and now it's what places can be made up and what progress can be made going forward for these drivers. Gautam Singhania still right on the back of Thomas Loflad. In truth, he's probably being held a bit by Loflad, but Loflad, who's going to have to serve that drive-through penalty, is going to be out of his way at some point very, very soon. In fact, he dives in now for his drive-through penalty, which means that Gautam Singhania now becomes P3. And it also elevates Tommy Lindroth, of course, into P4 and Eric Chung into P5. So there is the Stylev Squadron Corsa driver, Thomas Loflad, taking his drive-through penalty for jumping the start. And that's going to drop him down a whole heap of places. So he comes back out on track now, going to factor in where he's going to come back out as Eric Prinot now answers Jacques Diver with another fastest lap at 1:54.407 from Eric Prinot. That came on lap 6 of this race. And now in P3 is the Kessel Racing driver Gautam Singhania. So there is Prinot, a race leader goes through. There is driver. And I think Loflad will have rejoined in position P11 or P12. Just ahead of the Ghostly sisters, I think. Manuela and Karina. So Loflad back out in P11. Battle for 4th position, as you can see on screen, is between Tommy Lindroth and Eric Chung. There is Tommy Lindroth. And Eric Chung certainly close to him. And there's the margin that it's been brought down over the last laps or so. And they're going for an excursion across the curbs is Christian Hobome. And what I think is happening here is Eric Chung putting the pressure on Tommy Lindroth, is meaning that Lindroth is getting ever closer to Gautam Singhania in P3. So just wonder whether Tommy Lindroth, who at one point during qualifying this morning was P1 for some period of time, whether he's sniffing the potential opportunity of a podium here. So it's Prinot from Diver, and Prinot over Diver now is some 2.6 seconds, so a big, big margin. Thomas Gostner and Christian Kinch battling for P6. The familiar green and white colours of the back-to-guard car of Christian Kinch. And ahead of him is Thomas Gostner, the Ineco MP racing driver. And on board with Christian Kinch, then the Louis Sportivo pilot. Really, really enjoying his time in the Ferrari Challenge. And may I say, improving and improving and improving with every single race. Really being quite aggressive over the curbs. More so potentially than Tommy Lindroth, I would have said. Super slow-mo of Holger Harmsen here. Certainly taking plenty of curb. Holger down there in for him, a lowly P8, I would have said. Von Skeltermar trying to rescue something out of the race is P13. He was turned around earlier and is doing his best to move himself up the order past Manuela Gostner. We can see in replay. And here is von Skeltermar. Such a battle with Max Bianchi last year for the title, and well, going into 2015, you'd have said that Fons is one of those that really will be hunting for the top step come the end of the championship. Well, his first race hasn't gone the way he would have liked it to. So Thomas Gostner and Christian Kinch then. Battle for P6 as sideways there for Eric Chung, being advised by race control that von Skeltermar must respect the track limits, particularly around turn 10. Probably be his final warning, because they've been ruling with a rod of iron. As once again we're on board with Eric Prinot, that leads this race by a margin now of 2.6 seconds over our P2 driver Jack Diver. And Prinot heads for the timing line then. And we'll see if he's increased that margin. Indeed he has. So his last lap, a 1:54.530 compared with Driver's, which was a 1:54.614. Sees the margin increased to 2.817 between the top two, and we're looking at the top one at the moment. That is Eric Prinot, our race leader. Jacques Diver then through the turn 2, the Rettifio chicane. Gautam Singhania got it all under control with regards to the challenge from Tommy Lindroth, who equally is now not under quite so much pressure from Eric Chung, and Eric Chung's previous sideways moment would have had something to do with that, I feel sure. Jack Diver squirming under braking, then the front end of the car. Here comes the Kessel driver, Gautam Singhania, who is P3, some 5 seconds behind Jack Diver in P2. And here Christian Kinch getting so sideways, but controlling it beautifully. But of course what that has done is scrub some speed off and has lost him a few tenths in terms of time. And well, Thomas Gostner can breathe just a sigh of relief for a moment, because the challenge from Christian Kinch has been dealt a blow by that sideways moment. Another car being warned for track limits is car number 195, which is down there in P19 at the moment. That's Christian Hobone, the gentleman racer, who, as I say, is down there in P19. Fastest lap remains the lap on lap 8 from Eric Prinot, a 1:54.305, but still lapping within 2 tenths of that fastest lap at the moment. His last lap was a 1:54.530. Thomas Gostner then taking a lot more out of that curb than Christian Kinch did. Looked a lot smoother through there and quite as aggressive as Gostner. There's the returning Thomas Loflad then, following his drive-through penalty, who's out ahead of Holger Harmsen. Thomas Loflad now P8, Holger Harmsen is P9, so in the points. So the all-yellow machine of the Dusseldorf-based Holger Harmsen in car number treble 1. Very likeable German. Around the parabolica, heading towards the start-finish straight in the timing line. And Jacques Diver was 5 tenths quicker than Eric Prinot last lap. Wonder whether there was perhaps just a slight mistake from Eric Prinot that caused that slight difference. 1:54.255 for Jacques Diver and a 1:54.776 for Eric Prinot. We're on 14.5 minutes left in the race, which is being led by Eric Prinot. That's the von Skeltermar car that you were looking at there, which is down there at the moment in P12. There is Jacques Diver, who was 5 tenths quicker than Eric Prinot. And there you can see confirmation of that fastest lap, a 1:54.255. Came on lap 10 from Jacques Diver. Does that mean in the second half of this race that Diver is going to take the chase, as Holger Harmsen's in strife now? And the car being reversed out of the way, so hopefully we'll get a replay of exactly what caused that yellow 111 machine to be in trouble. There's Tommy Lindroth going through. Behind Tommy Lindroth is Eric Chung. Just going through on the picture is Gautam Singhania. There is Tommy Lindroth. And they're all really spread out now, with Just under 13 and a half minutes left to run in this Copa race, being led by Eric Prenot. And we're actually watching the Thomas Gostner car, which is P6 at the moment, with Christian Kinch right behind in P7. Following his sideways moment a couple of laps ago, he's not quite as on the back of Thomas as he was. But still continuing to chase hard. You see the brake discs light up when the huge pressure is applied to the braking pedal. Further down the order then, Klaus Rubeck there in car number 170. Being chased by the Turkish driver, Chuadraogo. We can see there. I'm sure he's going to tell me off about the pronunciation of his name at some point, but there we are, we're doing our level best. And there, blue flag being waved to allow Jacques Diver and Eric Prenot to go through. And go through they do. Christian Hobome not causing them any problems with regards to holding them up as a back marker. So Prenot's margin at the front then is 2.4 seconds over Jacques Diver in P2. There is von Skeltermar then. Down there, P12. Dieter Schenk. In car number 182, having been passed by him, as we saw in replay. So now the chase is on to Corinna Gostner, who's next in the target sights of the shark's-teethed von Skeltermar. And there is Manuela Gostner in the 183 car. Gostner family heavily populating the Ferrari Challenge, with Manuela and Corinna and Thomas and David that we saw earlier on the grid. Chatting to Corinna. David, of course, competing in the Trofeo Pirelli category of Ferrari Challenge. So 4 family members across the racing in Ferrari Challenge. Now, just been keeping a weather eye on the timing screen, and Jacques Diver is just marginally, well, I was going to say just marginally, eating into Eric Prenot, but Eric Prenot has answered back because the gap has now gone from 2 seconds up to 2.235. There is Corinna Gostner in P10 then. Stablemate from the team, Eric Prenot, leading the race by 2.2 seconds over Jacques Diver. And von Skeltermar then reeling in Corinna Gostner now, and you just feel it's only a matter of time. A matter of when, not if, that Fons has a go at getting past the black and pink liveried machine of 173 Corinna Gostner. So will he try and have a go going into the Rotofio chicane? Let's see. Certainly lines up, flashes his lights. Corinna got the right line. Fons will maybe look at the inside, but he won't be able to get alongside because he'll then be in the wrong place for the exit of the chicane. So will he try a long draft around the outside as they head towards the Curva Grande? Let's see. Various drivers take different lines around here, but Corinna Gostner taking a very middle line, which is her right to do. And in fairness, holding her own with regards to keeping von Skeltermar at bay at the moment. Heavy braking into turns 4 and 5, the Della Rogia Variante chicane. So this is the battle then that we are watching for P10. Between the Kessel Racing driver Fons Skeltermar and the Arnico MP Racing driver Corina Gosner. At the moment, Corina is able to show Fons a clean pair of heels, and Fons just gets a little bit wayward in his quest to try and get on terms. So this is a good battle for us to be watching. And certainly more aggressive across the curbs is Fons around the Scari chicane, and now dives up the inside of Corina Gosner as they head down towards the curve of Parabolica. And, well, he's set that up, I was going to say he'd set that up really, really well, but he hasn't made it stick yet. And Corina carries a little bit more speed through the exit of the Parabolica, and Fons, well, that was a lap of hard trying, but the actual results at the moment, Corina still stays in front. So they head up once again to the Rettifio chicane. Fons now does dive to the inside, and Corina is going to have to yield. But can Fons hold on to it? No, he can't. Now, he may be forced to give that place back because he couldn't make that stick without shortcutting the chicane. So I think he will be told to give that place back. Let's see it again in replay. Just carries too much speed through there and isn't able to scrub that speed off. Well, the stewards are aware of it because they've already mentioned it on the timing screen. Car 177 straight on at turn 1 and continued. And there you can see it from race control up on your screen as well now. The argument is, would the move have stuck? Be for the stewards to decide. So we're under 6 minutes left to run. And there is Manuela Gosner. As we switch back to the helmet camera, as worn by our race leader Eric Prinot. You just feel him taking the curves, can't you? You actually feel it through the camera. And his margin over Jacques Diver now is some 3.236 seconds. He's driven this race like an absolute demon, really. And all he's got to do is hold on for another 2 or 3 laps, and victory could be assured. There's Gautam Singhania in car number 180, who has backmarking traffic ahead of him, but not being held up by that. Well, interestingly, the message on the timing screen now has changed from car 177 going on straight at turn 1 and continuing to car 177 going straight on at turn 1 and gaining an advantage. And indeed, Fons has yielded and given that place back, which is exactly the right thing to do. So there in replay was Corina Gosner retaking that place. So now Fons is going to have to work doubly hard to get back into the points. Christian Kinch running out of road there and certainly exceeding the track limits as he continues to chase down Thomas Gosner. With 3 Gosners in the race, you'll forgive us for the name being mentioned really rather a lot. So the battle for 6th continues. And the battle up front, well, Eric Prinot has a 3.4 second margin, so barring any disasters, looks relatively comfortable. Not looking comfortable and having gone round, though, is Simon Cunningham-Potts, not for the first time in this race, and I also think having gone round. Well, it's Not who I expected it to be. I think that was Dieter Schenk that had gone around there. No, it's not. It's Roberto Carver. So, a bit of contact there. And that super slow-mo replay, and thanks to Franco, right on it for us with that replay. So now, Fons has to overtake Corinna Gosner, because having done so through that chicane a little while ago, the stewards adjudged that to him going straight on at the chicane. He did gain an advantage, and that means that he's got to re-overtake all over again. In the meantime, Thomas Loflad pushing hard, Christian Hobohm, and there around again is Simon Cunningham-Potts. Now that, I think, is another incident. That was right out in front of another car. Now that's what happened there. Basically got out on the grass, lost traction, lost grip, clattered a whole load of gravel across the track. Bit of damage to the front of the Kessel car there. You can see the front splitter is flapping away there. Now, Fons Skeltermar has got back past Corinna Gosner. Doubtless we'll see that in replay. Later stages of this race, seeing a number of replays, aren't we? Because quite a lot is going on. So we'll take a look at a replay of how that place was got back. But Fons Skeltermar seems to have done it completely correctly this time. And we're under 2 minutes left to run. And here it is in replay. Absolutely got the speed there and was able to get past Corinna Gosner without a problem. Manuela Gosner, meantime, looks like a retirement. A problem there for Manuela. The Ineco MP driver. She's okay, gets the thumbs up to the marshal. But this is how that happened. It's like a potential engine blow-up, perhaps. Certainly a lot of smoke coming out of the car, wasn't there? Can you believe it? Lap 16, Eric Prinot sets another fastest lap, a 1:54.068. Missed that when there was so much else going on. But Prinot with a 3.1 second margin over Jacques Driver. Christian Kinch still chasing down Thomas Gosner. There they are. And we have just 30 seconds left to run in this Copa-Shell race from the Ferrari Challengers. Thomas goes past the stricken Manuela Gosner car. Here is now Jacques Driver is in the lead. Eric Prinot has slowed. So what has happened there? Eric Prinot had a huge margin. Did he make a mistake? Was there an error? What happened there? Doubtless we'll get to see it in replay, but Jacques Driver is now leading this race. Now, Prinot seems to be going okay. Here is Eric Prinot and Jacques Driver. Well, why was Eric slowing at that point? That kind of really didn't explain anything. So, Jacques Driver, who has, well, been steadfast in his second place position throughout the race, was gifted the opportunity to take the lead, seemingly, has done so, and could be heading for victory. It looks like Eric Prinot is fighting back, but this is the last lap. Driver, Prinot, and then it's Gautam Singhania in P3. So Jacques Driver then. Now, my memory is not brilliant, but I think this will be Jacques Driver's first overall win in the Ferrari Challenge, and I apologise to him already if I've got that wrong. Maybe second win. But whatever it is, it's going to be the checkered flag that he's going to head towards now, and he's going to take it. Jacques Driver wins from Eric Prinot P2. and Gautam Singhania takes P3. Ever happened to Eric Prinot? There was a slowing car. Don't think he was held up by that. Whether he just missed a gear or made a mistake, I do not know. And now going for it big time is Christian Kinch as he tries to find a way around Thomas Gostner. I don't think he's going to do it. Sterling effort for trying, though. Diver, Prinot, Singhania, Chung, Lindroth, Gostner, then Kinch, P7. It should be Thomas Loflad that takes P8, and bearing in mind he served a drive-through penalty. Paul van Lauwenhout should take P9, and just into the points will be von Skeltermar to take P10, though it's been jolly hard work for him to do so after having been turned around earlier in the race. And there is von Skeltermar, indeed does take P10. Karina Gostner P11. Dieter Schenk P12. Here is Eric Prinot. Now, why did he slow because of that car, that backmarking car? Thanks very much to our TV director, Franco, for spinning that in again for me, because I really don't understand that. Did he slow for that car? There's Manuela Gostner, who we saw retire earlier on. And, well, the only way I'm going to find out, I guess, is to speak to Eric, which I will do in due course. I wonder what happened to Manuela Gostner there, whether the car actually blew up. And here is Eric Prinot again. We're on board with him. And von Skeltermar, as always, appreciative to the marshals and the crowd, whatever position he finishes in. And that was where Diver looked. He was gifted that. And I reckon Eric slowed for that car. I reckon he came up behind that car and had to suddenly slow. Wow. Well, it was all drama at the end. And there's Manuela. All smiles, despite the fact I think she might have a big bill, because there was a lot of smoke came out of that car. And here's Eric Prinot then with the helmet camera. And Jacques Driver, who, has to be said, whenever he gets out of the racing car, always looks an utter wreck. Nicole, his partner, will be one of the very first to congratulate him. Right, let's take a look at the highlights of that race right now. So as the safety car led them away, it was all eyes on the lights, and everyone really went for it, and there was an argument that some went for it before the lights went green. Eric Prinot, though, well, he did everything that he needed to do. There were lots of overtaking manoeuvres right at the start of the race, and quite a bit of damage as well. Poor old Rick Lovett suffered some damage there, and that caused the end of his race and put him in a really perilous position on the track where he could have been hit by any number of cars. Von Skeltermar got attacked by Peter Guerk, and there was lots of other incidents as well, but that a replay of how von Skeltermar got turned around. The blue flag was flying for those cars that were back marking now to the race leaders. Eric Prinot leading from Jacques Driver. Driver had consistently maintained his quest to try and get on terms with Eric Prinot, but it was all counting as naught. Manuela Gostner, well, she was going to retire with this incident, which looked, with the smoke coming out of the car, of some mechanical failure, and that was the end of her race. Thankfully, all okay, as the thumbs up indicate. And Jacques Driver then was gifted the opportunity to take the checkered flag and the win. What a great race. Copa-Shell Ferrari Challenge.
very good. And yeah, misunderstanding on Eric's part. And well done, Eric. Great race. We must watch it, but we kept misunderstanding. Vediamo anche Eric che via. Dice